All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Belvedere City Council regular meeting of November 20th, 2023. If the clerk will help me with the roll call, please.
Albertini,
Here.
Brereton,
Here.
Flurry,
Here.
Frank,
Here.
Freeman, here. Gramkowski,
Here.
McGee,
Here.
Mulhall,
Here.
Snow,
Here.
9 present.
All right, if you'll please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, we pray to thank you for our country, our community, our families, and our freedom. Lord, we thank you for our current military service members and for all the men and women veterans who have served and sacrificed throughout this country's history, and we ask that you bless them and their families. And we give thanks for the police and fire first responders in our community and throughout our country who bravely serve our citizens every day, no matter what. We pray for their safety and well-being. We pray for guidance this evening as you give each of us, and that you give each of us compassion, patience, courage, understanding, and wisdom as we conduct our city's business. We pray for these things in Christ's name. Amen. All right, do we have anybody registered for public comment?
We do not.
Excuse me, that helped. Thank you. So I would ask the council this evening if you would consider supporting moving under item I out of committee level, motions out of Finance and Personnel Committee. If you would move item I up to item 5 on the front page, that regarding a Dairy Queen donation. Mr. Neil Patel is here this evening, and this may be a lengthy meeting, and rather than him sit through that, I would like to recognize him certainly for what he did early on, so we don't tie his evening up.
So moved.
Alderman Snow, motion, second by Alderman Fleury. And if there's any discussion, all those in favor, please say aye. And any opposed? Okay, thank you. Also on your desk this evening, I had placed a letter from Alderman Tom Porter. There's a memo there regarding his resignation letter to me, or notification to me by a letter. And I'll read this. From me to the council, it is with deep regret that I inform you of Alderman Tom Porter's resignation as Alderman of the 1st Ward in a letter dated November 13, 2023. The resignation was effective immediately. I thank Alderman Porter for his dedication and willingness to serve the citizens of Belvedere these past 6+ years. He has represented the 1st Ward and the entire city in a professional, thoughtful manner with a genuine concern and caring for our community. So, I will be making an appointment regarding Tom's replacement, and I will have that to the council as soon as I can. Moving on, unless there's any questions. Okay. Moving on, item 4, approval of the minutes in your packet. 4A is approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of the Belvedere City Council dated November 6, 2023 as presented. Could I have a motion to that effect, please? Thank you. Motion by Alderwoman Mulhall and a second. Second by Alderman Snow. If there's any corrections or any questions, or anybody sees any errors in those minutes. If not, all those in favor of the motion on the floor, please say aye.
Aye.
And if there's any opposed, motion passed. Thank you. And item 6, under special messages and proclamations, we have Pam Lopez-Fettis from Growth Dimensions with us here this evening. Welcome, Pam. For an update.
Good evening. Thank you. I'm a little bit casual today because we are in the process of moving, so in the midst of going through a lot of boxes and dust and everything like that, so my apologies for everyone. Wanted to kind of point out to you really what our economic impact has been in Boone County. I do have to say that Belvedere needs to be very proud of themselves because our economic impact has been one of the greatest that I've seen, I think that we've had in over a decade. So just with, before we heard about Stellantis, we had a $3.5 billion investment for 2023. That's substantial. Even with communities that are much larger than ours, we've made a substantial impact in 2023. So with Stellantis, that brings it to $8.5 billion that projects that have been either announced, started construction, or completed construction in 2023. There's over 5,000 jobs that we're talking about, and over 3 million square feet that has been proposed and developed. So as we mentioned, Stellantis was Project Cloak and Dagger. There had been other projects in the past that we've worked or considered with them. Right now, we have had some initial contacts. They're still trying to get some of those details formalized with the state, and we've made initial contact with a battery plant provider. So we'll be keeping you in touch how that progresses. We're also working with we're working with the Fuel Center Speed Track. They're looking to complete by the end of the year. We're all talking to them about plans for future development, and we're trying to market that with them and making referrals to potential interested parties for that land. We've also working with Midwest Refrigeration Services with their additional plans for light food processing, and also a Chinese company with that's interested in corn wet mill operations. One of the new products programs that we started working with the Chicago Rockford International Airport and Billund Airport, the Danish Consulate, and the Rockford Area Chamber on a potential partnership with local businesses in the area to develop that supply chain and increase the imports and exports to this area. So we're trying to grow that relationship with Scandinavia. In potential other countries. Primarily, we're looking at seafood operations, pharmaceuticals, and maybe some others that we've talked about. So we've had one meeting, a couple of meetings, and we're going to be following up shortly. We've also worked with another company called Capital Warehousing that has some property here in a warehouse here in Belvedere, and they're interested in working with the Foreign Trade Zone and help smaller businesses that maybe don't want to complete the Foreign Trade Zone paperwork because it is pretty intensive, and may want to maybe develop those relationships with other countries. We're looking to develop that relationship and expand that relationship and market them as a potential kind of provider for them for the Foreign Trade Zone. So we'll be doing more marketing for them in the year to come. Some of the other things that we've been working with is Regional 1 Planning Council on the RISE grant. We have reviewed a draft. This is looking at specifically certain industries and developing that pipeline of potential pathways to these careers to make sure that we have some of those skills and programs that are essential for the jobs that we have planned in our community. So we have reviewed a draft, and we're kind of going back and refining that a little bit before it's shared with the public. Staff has presented entrepreneurial and enterprise zone information to business owners at the Boone County Health Department's annual Foods Workshop. And then we've also presented the core components and challenges of workforce development for economic development at the Basic Economic Development course in October. And lastly, we're hoping that we'll be complete with our build-out and move so we can have a holiday open house on December 8th. Again, that's pending completion. If not, we'll try to move it to the following week.
Okay, any questions for Pam? All right, thank you, Pam.
Thank
Have
you.
a good evening.
You did say.
All right, you may think I'm dyslexic, but maybe I am. Anyhow, regarding item 5, Dairy Queen donation, in your packet, there was a letter that was dated the 7th of November of this year. It was from Chief Shadle, and essentially, it was in regards to Neil Patel and the donation that he had decided to share, and then he actually added on it to make it what was an $850 donate. Yes, I want you to come up. Can you come up? Yes, sir. Right here, Neil, right here. And so anyhow, I know Neil, I was really excited when Neil and his family decided that they were going to locate their newest Dairy Queen, actually their first one, a ground-up build, I do believe.
Yes.
And I used to go over and visit Neil and his family at the Cherry Valley Dairy Queen, and also the one over on Sandy Hollow.
Yep.
And so anyhow, I was always anxious to get you to locate here, and that was long before I was mayor. That was when I was working at ComEd, and I decided I was going to stop in there for some ice cream. And I always coaxed you to build and come to Belvedere. And then after I was elected mayor, I stopped and gave you my card, and you took me up on it, and I'm very grateful. So anyhow, Neil, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yep. Thank you for bringing me this town, and this town's really helped me. You know, I didn't expect my business gonna be up here. I was expecting here, but Dairy Queen is going up here all the way. I said thank you guys, everybody, to helping me and supporting me, the Dairy Queen. And this is just the beginning of first donation, but the next year is more and more is coming to this town. And I'm gonna start with the fire department this year, but next year I'm gonna start with the police department, fire departments, and city and health department, and everybody. You know, I do once a year for each department, you know. Hope everybody just support me, and let's go continue from there.
Well, again, Neil, thank you so much on behalf of the city of Belvedere, and I know the city council. We appreciate you bringing your business here to Belvedere and open it up, and I couldn't be happier about it. So, is there any questions for Neil, or no? Okay, thank you, Neil.
Yep, thank you. So we respect to you.
Thank you. No, you can give that to.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you very
Yep,
much.
no problem. Thank you guys.
So with that being said, I would like a motion to accept the donation from Dairy Queen of Belvedere in the amount of $1,000 to be used to purchase public safety and prevention materials, as in motion by Alderman Albertini and a second by Alderwoman Mulhall. And is there any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye. When your name is called, please say aye. And
Al-
those opposed, nay. As the clerk calls the roll, please.
Albertini,
Aye.
Brereton,
Aye.
Flurry,
Aye.
Frank,
Aye.
Freeman, Gramkowski,
Aye.
McGee,
Aye.
Mulhall,
Aye.
Snow,
Aye.
9 in favor.
Motion passed, and again, thank you very much, Neil.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. All right, moving on, item 7, approval of expenditures. We have general and special fund expenditures in the amount of $3,320,949.43. That has been in your packet. Could I have a motion for their approval, please? Motion by Alderman McGee, thank you, and a second by Alderman Albertini, thank you. Any questions regarding the information that you have for general and special fund expenditures in front of you? Alderwoman Freeman?
Thank you, Mayor. I have A couple for Chief Woody. So page 11 is $56,376.98 in grants. Can you just refresh people at home where those grants all came from and what they were used for?
Yeah, that's the iLETSB grant, Illinois Training and Standards Board, that they had provided to the police department for recruiting and retention, which we plan on using for advertising, both digital, print media, and then ultimately trying to garner more recruits for our department.
Thank you for that. And then I had a question on the next page. Marengo Auto Body, repairs and repairs for number 14 for $1,866. So can you tell me why we went to Marengo and not somewhere local?
That was a auto body shop that could get us in, and ultimately it was the Deputy Chief Wallace's decision who, after talking to the other body shops, that ultimately they were able to again get us in and get us back on the road in a timely fashion.
Thank you for that. And then, very next page, 13, one of our canines had a root canal surgery for about $3,100.
Yes, I had mentioned this during my updates. Ultimately, what had happened is during training, the canine had cracked its tooth, his canine tooth, and we needed to get the root canal and ultimately get the tooth capped. We had looked at different alternatives, having it pulled, different methods of treating the cracked tooth, and this was the long-term best option available. And ultimately, it wasn't something that we could have pulled because it would affect the bite for all of the other teeth, and long-term, it would cause more problems than it would save.
Thank you, Chief. And then Chief Shadle, on page 20, we did our annual ladder and pump test inspections. How did those turn out?
Oh, everything passed.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you. And then I have one for Brent. Director Anderson, page 24, Bell Rock asphalt paving for an Appleton Road storm sewer. We had a problem with a storm sewer there.
If you recall, earlier this summer, we had a sinkhole that developed in Appleton Road, so it was found to be a storm sewer. So we made the repair, and then we had them do the patch.
Thank you. That's all I had, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any other questions regarding the general and special fund expenditures in front of you for a vote? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion will, when their name is called, answer aye. Any opposed, nay, as the clerk calls the roll, please.
Brereton.
Aye.
Flurry.
Aye.
Frank.
Aye.
Freeman. Gramkowski.
Aye.
McGee.
Aye.
Mulhall.
Aye.
Snow.
Aye.
Albertini.
Aye.
9 in favor.
Motion passed, thank you. And we have also approval of expenditures for the water and sewer fund in the amount of $1,186,643.86. If I could have a motion to that effect, please. Motion by Alderman Snow and a second. Second by Alderman McGee, thank you. Any questions regarding water and sewer expenditures in front of you this evening? All right, hearing none. All those in favor will, when their name is called, answer aye. Any opposed, nay, as the clerk calls the roll, please.
Flurry.
Aye.
Frank.
Aye.
Freeman. Gramkowski.
Aye.
McGee.
Aye.
Mulhall.
Aye.
Snow.
Aye.
Albertini.
Aye.
Brereton.
Aye.
9 in favor.
Motion passed, thank you. And item 8 in your packet are, item 8, items A through G for the record, have been placed on file with City Clerk Turnipseed's office. And we have item H, minutes of the Committee of the Whole Building, Planning and Zoning, Public Works, meeting of November 13th, 2023 in front of you. Could I have a motion to pass those minutes, please? Motion by Alderman McGee, thank you, and a second by Alderman Fleury. Thank you. Any questions, any concerns, any errors on those minutes, if anybody sees any? All right, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. And any opposed? Okay, motion passed, thank you. We have item 9, unfinished business, we have none. Item 10, new business, we have item A, ordinance 650H, which is a first reading this evening, that being an ordinance relating to Public Act 102-1143, the Illinois Paid Leave for All Workers Act, and establishing paid leave requirements for all city employees. That will be back to you for a second reading. And you will have we will have that for a vote. We have motions forwarded from the Committee of the Whole, Building, Planning and Zoning, and Public Works of November 13th, 2023. Motions out of Planning Zoning, Chairman McGee.
Thank you, Mayor. A, motion to appoint William J. Bieber to the City of Belvedere Planning and Zoning Commission for the remainder of the term of office expiring April 30, 2026.
Okay, we have that motion out of committee. Any questions, any comments, any discussion regarding the motion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor will, when their name is called, answer aye. Any opposed, nay. As the clerk calls the roll, please.
Frank?
Aye.
Freeman?
Aye.
Gramkowski?
Aye.
McGee?
Aye.
Mulhall?
Aye.
Snow?
Aye.
Albertini?
Aye.
Brereton?
Aye.
Flurry?
Aye.
9 in favor.
Motion passed. Thank you, Chairman McGee. Motions out of Public Works, Chairman Snow.
Thank you, Your Honor. B, motion to approve the proposal from Cerrone Piping in the amount of $5,805 to furnish and install a Goodman air handling unit at well number 9. This work will be paid from line item number 61-5-810-640.
Okay, thank you. We have that motion out of committee. Is there any questions, any comments? That being the low bid, as you may recall, by quite a bit, actually, almost half of the second bid. Is there any questions or comments regarding the motion on the floor? All right, hearing none. All those in favor will, when their name is called, answer aye. Any opposed, nay. As the clerk calls the roll, please.
Freeman?
Aye.
Gramkowski?
Aye.
McGee?
Aye.
Mulhall?
Aye.
Snow?
Aye.
Albertini?
Aye.
Brereton?
Aye.
Flurry?
Aye.
Frank?
Aye.
9 in favor.
Motion passed. Thank you. And item C, Chairman Snow.
Motion to approve the proposal from William Charles Electric for the installation of video detection at the intersection of Business 20, Genoa Road, and East 6th Street in the amount of $29,562.50. The city's share of this cost is $9,756.
Okay, thank you. We have that motion out of committee. Is there any comments, questions, or discussion on the motion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion on the floor will, when their name is called, answer aye. Any opposed, nay. As the clerk calls the roll, please.
Gramkowski?
Aye.
McGee?
Aye.
Mulhall?
Aye.
Snow?
Aye.
Albertini?
Aye.
Brereton?
Aye.
Flurry?
Aye.
Frank?
Aye.
Freeman?
Aye.
9 in favor.
Motion passed. Thank you. And item D, Chairman Snow.
The repairs to the street department truck number 2027 at an estimated cost of $33,556.08. This cost will be paid from line item number 01-5-310-6020.
Okay, we have that motion out of committee. Any questions, any discussion regarding the motion? Alderman Fleury?
Thank you. So, Director Anderson, I appreciate your frugalness in most cases here, but, you know, looking back at investing $33,000 in a truck that's over 20 years old doesn't seem maybe the most prudent course of action. I know you said that looking for a brand-new truck could cost $250,000, but is there another alternative?
At this point in time, the other alternative would be looking for used trucks, which we have been looking for a while. We haven't found any yet. We're still on the lookout for them. In this case, this was a truck that we purchased new. We've had it since new. And I think if we do nothing with this truck, then we basically will sell it for scrap value. And that value will be probably $4,500 to $5,000. Any new vehicle, a used vehicle that you get, you're gonna be on the bottom range, you're gonna be in probably the $20,000 to $30,000 range or higher for a used vehicle. So I think at this point in time, given the scenarios that we have in front of us, investing that money in this vehicle, I think makes the most sense at this point in time. If you decide not to do that, we can certainly get the scrap value for it, be on the lookout for the used ones. Not sure what the kind of time frame we have on what that will take to do, because unfortunately with the truck market the way it is now, delay times on ordering new, I double checked it again today, to order new, the earliest we can get a chassis is probably late 24, early 25, and then once you get the chassis, then you have to get it outfitted with the box plow and the other support equipment that goes with that chassis, and you're looking at probably the end of 25 to get anything new. So unfortunately, everybody's looking for used. Everybody's kind of in the same boat now as far as making repairs. So I think at this point in time, given the scenarios we have, I think this is a good solution. It's probably not the best solution, but unfortunately, that's where we're at this point.
Right, but it's come to our attention that there are some folks within the department have been looking for vehicles, and that there have been vehicles made available, but maybe it doesn't hit every specification, but looking to be more versatile instead of necessarily replacing this truck for truck, but just having a similar truck that can meet these requirements and also additional requirements.
Well, again, we haven't found the one that's come through yet. We've got some leads on some possible 5-yard trucks that are coming due that would suffice. Again, this is a 10-yard truck, so it's a larger truck. Again, we utilize this truck for leaf collection and do other things with it. And I think if we invest this money, get it back on the road, again, it's going to provide us probably 5 to 10 years worth of service, which I think on the dollars spent, you're going to be looking at that expense. Even getting a used truck, you're still going to be looking at that same expense. So I think that's where we're at.
I guess it's more of a legal question, but is it possible, because I know if we're looking at auctions, sometimes by the time it comes to committee and then goes to city council, that truck may be gone. Is it possible to make a motion to amend to say upwards to, say, $35,000 that is approved for a used vehicle from auction? That way that they have the pre-authorization. It's still within the price we're going to pay, but just have that authorization ahead of time so that if something comes up on auction, it doesn't have to go through waiting for us to make that bid.
And we have done that previously in the past, as you recall, with our mechanics truck at the street department, where, again, we were on the lookout for used vehicles, and we saw that they were coming up on an upcoming auction, and we were able to get council approval to not to exceed X amount of dollars, and we went, and we were successful, and that's worked out real well for us. The truck has done real well for us. And again, we're looking for that. We just have not, up to this point, we haven't found anything. County, for example, they just had a used truck that they put up for sale. We went and looked at that one. By the time we went through it and what we had to invest in it, we would probably have as much or more money invested in that one than we're looking at this one. So again, it's a tight market out there and they're hard to come by.
Right, so I guess the question, is it possible to make a motion to amend this to, instead of putting the repairs in this, but to approve for a purchase? Or does that would have to be vote this down, no, and come back in a different time?
I would recommend that it be separate, they vote this one down and do that at a future time, because it is vastly different than what the motion was coming out originally. I'm not a big fan of, for example, what the state of Illinois does, take an insurance bill and make it a police bill or something like that. You want it to be at least somewhat related to the original motion. So I would recommend doing that as a separate motion. Keeping in mind that while we've done that in the past, we knew there was an auction coming up. We knew about what was going to come out to be, was how he asked for that upward authority. I don't know that we know of any auctions coming up in the near future where we'd have an idea of what the successful bid might be. That's a better question for Brent. The other caveat to what I'm saying is you can make that motion, we could do that, so long as it's a budgeted amount.
Well, and again, we've looked at, in the budget, upcoming budget, because it's budget time, obviously, and proposed a 10-yard replacement truck. We had, not in the upcoming budget, but in the following 2 years, we've got provisions in there for new 10-yard trucks to replace existing vehicles. In next year's budget, we have 2 end loaders, one for the wastewater treatment plant, one for the street department. We're looking at the possibility of perhaps maybe having looked at the availability of end loaders, because on a short-term basis, that could be used for snow removal as a replacement for this truck for snow removal purposes. You could certainly table this action, refer it back to committee and talk about it more Monday night, because the bottom line is the repairs on this truck is going to be 60 to 90 days. So it takes it through most of the snow removal season. So basically it's lost to us regardless. If one of those 5 yards that I mentioned earlier, if those become available in the next couple of weeks or 3 weeks or a month, then we're going to gain that usability for the snow season this year too as well. So that's certainly a possibility. And it's just going to be a matter of timing on when those become available, because they are a rare commodity these days, and they tend to go fast. So yeah, we were always looking, again, if we can do that, authorize that. I'm not against a like new used vehicle as well. And if we're able to find one of them, then maybe we delay, then postpone a replacement of a new vehicle down the road then.
Thank you. Alderwoman Freeman?
Thank you, Mayor. So, it's my understanding that we currently have 4 trucks that are out of service. The number 2028, 2070, 2014, and then this one. And they are all, 1995 Ford LTS 9000, a 1989 Volvo, a 1988 Mack, and then this one is it's 23 years old, so that would make it a 2000. So having 4 trucks out of service leaves us a little short for plowing and salting, and because these trucks are so old, it's hard to find parts for them, or they're just plain worn out and not really able to be fixed. It's my understanding that the Mack truck has been out of service for 2 years now, and I just think that we need to find a way to get some equipment in our budget rotation for our street department. We do it for squad cars for our police department, because at some point, the justification has always been to me that it becomes more expensive to maintain and fix them than what they're actually worth. So I think we need to start rotating some of these old 1989, 1988, 1995 trucks out, and whether we get used or new, a used one, and then a new one, and then a used one, I'm fine with that, but we need to start taking care of our street department.
Mr. Anderson?
Well, and we certainly try to do that. We would appreciate any more monies that the street department can get for equipment replacement. Unfortunately, when you compare it to police and fire, fire has a few fire trucks and they're more expensive, as you know, what those costs. Police department are a lot less. Our vehicles now, like I said, a new 10-yarder is in the $250,000 plus range. A 5-yard truck is not that far behind there. So they tend to be bigger ticket items and replace them. The ones that you mentioned, there's a couple that are out. 2028, truck 2028 needs a new box. That's why it's not, it's still capable of plowing snow and working that way. We just can't spread salt with it at the moment. To get a new box, cost for a new replacement box is going to be $30,000 or plus just for the box on the truck, as an example. I hope to have, I've gotten one price on a new box, and I'm waiting for a second price. That'll be coming at our next committee meeting to get approval to do that one. So I think we've identified, we've got the 5-year capital improvement program. We do replace these trucks on a periodic basis. Obviously, we do keep our stuff for quite a while. We get the most out of them, and we try to be as efficient as we can. And certainly, if we can increase that turnover ratio and spend those additional funds, that would be a good thing.
All right. Any other questions, any other comments? I will say that when Brent came to me and asked me about this, we had talked about it, and I thought it was a prudent use of funds, obviously considering that if you find a used truck, you may not know what you have. And how long are you going to look to find the truck? Or how much are we going to spend for a used truck that potentially could have as many problems as something that we have had since, we've had this since new, correct? So we've owned this vehicle, we know the history of it, and I thought rather than $250,000, looking at a new one, although Brent did touch upon it, we have for 2025 and then 2026, 2 new vehicles that, so we are going to, if we can have if the supply chain will allow us to get these vehicles. But we have put in the budget under capital improvements planning to change out the vehicles. This one has 81,000 miles on it, and it's not that it's can't be utilized. According to Director Anderson, he told me he thought we may get 5 to 10 years out of the truck after we spend $33,556.08. It seems like a pretty fair return to me and I can only rely upon what I am told, but I do believe that's prudent, and I believe that's probably accurate. As we go with the next new trucks that we get with a capital improvement, perhaps this truck will show its age again in a way, but hopefully we could get 5 to 10 years out of it. And I think whenever you had submitted this to the council, that was your intent, correct?
Correct.
So anyhow, we have a known commodity right now. We can spend the money and we can utilize it and hopefully get 5 to 10 years rather than spend an additional however much for a used truck in a market that's very inflated. The market, if you can find them, that's why they're so inflated. If you can find them, that's a problem. And I know Brent has come to me before with trying to find, new vehicles or vehicles on a lot, let alone finding a good used vehicles. They go very, very quickly. Technically, I guess I would say that we will have a good used vehicle after we spend this. It'll be older, but it's actually not high mileage, and it appears that this will put it back on in service. And so I think when we had discussed it, that was our thoughts.
And again, maybe at the next committee meeting, I can get the list down for you and a better update for everybody where we're at. I can tell you that the 2 10-yard dump trucks that we're going to replace, the trucks that we're going to replace, this one that we're talking about tonight was not one of those 2. So we have other ones out there that are need to be replaced even more so than what this one does now, since the cracks in the frames had showed up.
Alderwoman Freeman?
Thank you again. So is there potential on this truck, if we put the 33,000 into it, that there are actually more problems found that could end up costing more?
Certainly, if they get into it and that happens, then yeah, I'll be the first to say, no, we're, for example, 4066, 5-yard dump truck at the wastewater treatment plant. That truck, we just took delivery finally on the replacement truck for that one. That existing one's got, the frame is broken in 12. We've identified 12 different locations where there's cracks in that frame. And because it's a 5-yard truck, it's not as worth as much money as once we repair it and stuff. And we've determined, no, we're not gonna repair that one just because of the condition that one's in. So that one's gonna be a scrap value, we're gonna scrap that out, and now we've replaced that one. Again, as far as on the replacement schedule, I can update that, bring the council up to speed where we're at on all those vehicles and what the 5-year plan shows, which ones are up, which ones are not, and let you know where that's at.
Continue.
And then if we are potentially budgeting capital money for replacement trucks for 2025 and 2026, and they're 2 years out, should we not be ordering those now?
We'll be ordering those. I will be requesting to order those future trucks through this budget process.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
It's already has a motion.
Yeah. All right, if there's no other comments or questions, all those in favor of the motion, then it would be to recommend approval of the repairs to the street department truck number 2027 at an estimate. Alderman Fleury.
Sorry, Mayor. So is it possible then to push this back to committee to discuss further about whether to do repairs? Because as you said, that it's not going to be in this snow removal anyway, so if we push it 2 weeks, is that going to, so do we have to, I know last time we said table it, and we said that's not the right term anymore, so what are we supposed to say to move it to the committee?
City attorney tells me make a motion to postpone.
I'd like to make a motion to postpone.
Okay? Okay.
Would that be to the next city council meeting?
Yeah, when would that be to
Oh, to the committee of whole.
the
We
committee?
postpone this to the committee of the whole and refer to committee. Is that the motion?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Well put.
And if we do that, then perhaps, I don't know, Mr. Anderson, will you have any other information about this particular truck then, or no?
Not necessarily about this particular truck, but I think I'll have further information on where we're at with other trucks, where we're at with looking for used vehicles, where we're at going down the road for the next 1, 2, and 3 years. And I think council will have a better understanding of just exactly where we're at status-wise on our equipment replacement schedule.
Okay. Very good. And so we have a motion to postpone to the next committee of the whole meeting. There's no other questions or discussion. All those in favor will, when their name is called, answer aye. Any opposed, nay. As the clerk calls the roll, please.
McGee,
Aye.
Mulhall,
Aye.
Snow,
Aye.
Albertini,
Aye.
Brereton,
Aye.
Flurry,
Aye.
Frank,
Aye.
Freeman. Gramkowski,
Aye.
9 in favor.
All right, motion passed, thank you. And we will hopefully have some more information on that at the next committee meeting. Thank you for that, and we have motions out of Finance and Personnel. Chairwoman Frank?
Thank you, Mayor. Motion to approve United Healthcare CFMM Nexus RX EUX medical plan and self-fund dental for the City of Belvedere employees for calendar year 2024.
Okay, thank you. We have that motion out of committee. Is there any comments or questions regarding the motion on the floor? Alderman Snow?
So just everybody knows, I did get a phone call from somebody in the city that was concerned about the fact that their doctors weren't in the plan and that they were going to, that we may potentially see grievances through the unions regarding this. So just tossing that out there.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Any other questions? Alderman Frank?
Thank you, Mayor. This healthcare doesn't affect me, but I'm just wondering, like Alderman Snow, he's heard from others. I'm wondering how the personnel, how they like the plan before we vote on it. I mean, we're voting on something that's not affecting us.
Well, you know, I think that whenever there's change, you have an uncertainty with change. I would say that I'm pretty certain that their rates will go down. They will have better coverage in most instances. And I believe this policy, this new policy, is equal to or it's substantially the same rather than substantially different. One of the things that happened, as I'm sure you're aware of, was that the policy that they had, we were not going to be able to have that, obtain that. And so with that being said, we had tried to come up with a plan that satisfied the same or at least close to, and I think we have done that. I think, as I said, it's better in some respects for the majority, and overwhelmingly, I haven't heard necessarily, unless the city attorney has, that other than it is a change, and it's tough. I agree. I don't. Nobody likes change, and whenever you have a policy, a change in the policy or the provider, I think that's tough. But we did try and make sure that the coverage was at least equal to, and the rates were more efficient in most cases for the employees, and also for the city and for the taxpayers, there was efficiency and cost savings as well. So it's tough to try and iron them all out, but it is a change. But I think in general that it's fair.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? All right, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion on the floor will, when their name is called, answer aye. Any opposed, nay. As the clerk calls the roll.
Mulhall,
Aye.
Snow,
Aye.
Albertini,
Aye.
Brereton,
Aye.
Flurry,
Aye.
Frank,
Aye.
Freeman,
Aye.
Gramkowski,
Aye.
McGee,
Aye.
9 in favor.
Motion passed, thank you. And Chairwoman Frank, item F, please.
Thank you. Motion to enter into a one-year contract with Morgan Building Maintenance for cleaning services at City Hall at a rate of $1,057 per month. Fees shall be paid for from line item 01-5-110-6010, repairs and maintenance buildings.
Okay, thank you. We have that motion out of committee. Is there any questions or concerns regarding the motion out of committee? Alderwoman Freeman?
Thank you again, Mayor. So it's come to my attention that in the past, and being as how we're going down to 2 days a week, and I don't know what type of cleaning supplies we have here at City Hall, but we used people on community service at one time to come in, obviously during normal working hours, and maybe just wipe stuff down or run a vacuum or something?
I don't know. My understanding was, I don't know if we've ever done that before. The only thing that I do know, bear with me, the only thing that I know for certain is when Mayor Brereton faced, I think it was in 2007 or 8, whenever they faced the market crash, I do believe that even the employees at that time were cleaning City Hall. I wasn't aware of anybody coming from, would you say,
People that are ordered to do community service, I know people that have been ordered to do community service and have a hard time finding anywhere to actually get their hours around here. So I just thought it might be something we could consider.
okay? Alderman Snow, did you have any comments?
Back in 2006, when my wife and I started attending, I remember Shauna having to manage that, and I don't know why it went away, but I think it was more of a nuisance and not as productive in the long run. That was my
Correct.
understanding.
It was not consistent. It was something we did. It was not consistent. So you'd have somebody 1 week, and then you wouldn't have anybody for a couple of weeks. So, I don't know. I don't think it could like fully cover somebody coming in every week and doing the services.
Okay, I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other comments? Oh, Alderwoman Gramkowski?
My concern with having someone like community service or something like that is our liability if they got hurt, if they had a adverse reaction to the chemicals. What would that set us up for a lawsuit potentially?
Haven't looked at this for a while, because we see as community service workers or host them. And actually, the owner of the previous cleaning company used to oversee it, I believe free of charge or limited cost, to have people go around town and pick up the town.
They did that too.
And we did that on the weekends, I think it was on Saturdays or Sundays, and we provide community service hours that way. Thinking back to that agreement with probation, because probation department oversees community service in Boone County, there is a statute that provides immunity from people allowing them to work on their sites, so long as it's not, well, you normally see the Tort Immunity Act, willful and wanton. Don't put them in a knowingly really dangerous position. That being said, you still face a lawsuit. I mean, just because you're found ultimately not liable doesn't mean I don't have to fight the lawsuit at some point down the road, so there's always that. The bigger issue is, frankly, the consistency. That and when we have a contractual relationship with the cleaning company, there's certain things that come with it as far as, confidentiality of materials. They're walking through our offices. They walk into my office and vacuum the floor. I may have files on my desk. I personally don't want anybody that we don't know who they are coming to the building having, the ability to look through my files, or potentially, in the clerk's office, she locks her files up pretty well, but, you've got all kinds of confidential information there as well.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other discussion, any other comments? All right, hearing none, we have a motion then on the floor out of committee. And all those in favor of the motion to enter into, I'll read the motion since it's been a little bit. Motion to enter into a 1-year contract with Morgan Building Maintenance for cleaning services at City Hall at a rate of $1,057 per month. Fees shall be paid from line item 01-5 110-6010, repairs and maintenance buildings. All those in favor of the motion will, when their name is called, answer aye. Any opposed, nay. Any opposed, nay. As the clerk calls the roll, please.
Snow,
Aye.
Albertini,
Aye.
Brereton,
Aye.
Flurry,
Aye.
Frank,
Aye.
Freeman. Aye. Gramkowski,
Aye.
McGee,
Aye.
Mulhall,
Aye.
9 in favor.
Motion passed, thank you. And Alderwoman Frank, Chairwoman Frank, item G.
Thank you. Motion to appoint Wendy Frank to the Board of Library Trustees of the City of Belvedere to fill the remaining term created by the resignation of Dawn Brooks with a term expiring July 1st, I'm assuming 2024?
That's correct.
Yeah, it's in-
All right, we have that motion out of committee. Any discussion on the motion out of committee? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor, when their name is called, answer aye. Any opposed, nay. As the clerk calls the roll, please.
Albertini,
Aye.
Brereton,
Aye.
Flurry,
Aye.
Frank,
Aye.
Freeman. Gramkowski,
Aye.
McGee,
Aye.
Mulhall,
Aye.
Snow,
Aye.
9 in favor.
Motion passed, thank you. And item H, Chairwoman Frank.
Thank you. Motion to consent to the appointment of Timothy Rathburn to the City of Belvedere Fire and Police Commission for the remainder of the term of office expiring April 30th, 2024.
Okay, we have that motion out of committee. Any questions, any comments regarding the appointment of Mr. Timothy Rathburn? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion on the floor will, when their name is called, answer aye. Any opposed, will answer nay. As the clerk calls the roll, please.
Brereton,
Aye.
Flurry,
Aye.
Frank,
Aye.
Freeman. Gramkowski,
Aye.
McGee,
Aye.
Mulhall,
Aye.
Snow,
Aye.
Albertini,
Aye.
9 in favor.
Motion passed, and item I, we dispensed of earlier in the meeting, so we have nothing further on the agenda. Could I have a motion to adjourn, please? Motion by Alderwoman Frank, second by Alderman Albertini. All those in favor, please say aye. Anybody want to stay? All right, for the record, thank you, everybody. Have a good evening. For the record, we adjourned at 6:57 PM.